Oh, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's that special time of year where all your dreams will be crushed and all your hopes will be destroyed. Unfortunately, we're back. It's Game Bites, the world's greatest gaming podcast. I am joined, as always, as my second most favorite Bill Murray lookalike friend, Biscuits, aka Pixel Master, aka Alex McConnell. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. Santa's coming.
Santa is I'm excited. I'm excited. Alex, I haven't seen you in what, 2 weeks, right?
It's been a minute, dude. I think it's been 10 days. No,
It's
it
been
has been. Yeah, it's been. Yeah, I think it's been 10 days actually. Yeah.
You got 10 days. That's good. We had a good time. You busted some moves at my house. I am now officially selling time in my guest bedroom to people that are struggling with fertility.
Fertility, yeah.
Yeah, I was passionate about that discussion, and now I'm making about $5, so it's not bad. We got Paul's over on Instagram. We got people here in Twitch and Twitter and all that stuff. We doing well. Everything good? How's Joy? How's the baby? When's the baby going to be here? That's what everyone cares about, is the baby. Let's be honest.
On this gaming podcast,
Yes.
Player 3 has entered the chat.
You do more things. The fact that we have wives that are pregnant proves that we do more things besides playing games.
I have 736 hours of PS5 time this year, so I don't know how much wife time I have. She's probably napping right now. But yeah, no, she's doing good. She's doing good. What's that? Yeah, it's only did. She is due January 20th.
That's good. What's your over under on when the baby will be here, early or late? Any takers from chat as well when Alex's baby's going to be here?
Well, we were playing a game called time, date, and wait. We forgot to do that at your house, but yeah, people trying to guess the time of day, the actual day, and the baby's weight, and we're giving away gift cards and what do you call that?
Money?
No. Like, what's a game voucher for Hogwarts Legacy, of course. Yeah, for people who guess it correctly. But no, I guessed January 22nd. I'm hoping it's in February, but that's way too long for that baby to be cooking because I'm a February birthday.
What's the expected weight at launch or birth? I should say this isn't a game. So
okay, so the release schedule for that is the expected weight should be. Gosh, I'm hoping it's not have more than 7 pounds for Joy. She's tiny, but it was 4.5. He was 4.5 pounds on Thanksgiving, so I think he's supposed to be around 6 to 7.
Okay, my baby is already over 5 pounds and is expected to be around 9 pounds by the due date. And Brianna's very tiny, so she does not want baby Joey to get any bigger.
Yeah,
I told her this baby's gonna be 10 pounds coming out. It's gonna be starting on the offensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers next week.
I'm gonna go with Price is Right rules, and I'm really good at this for your baby's weight. 19 pounds, 3 ounces. Put it on the board.
I think that's possible.
The record, you know how heavy the record is?
What is it?
22 pounds.
Did anyone unfortunately die?
Probably the doctors that delivered it. But no, it was 22 pounds. No, I don't know anything about it, if it was natural, cesarean, or some other method.
The trampoline method, I heard.
The squat on the trampoline, yeah. Oh, squat on the, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was just saying, John Prout was 10 pounds. Interesting. That's a big baby boy.
My younger sister was 10 pounds, 4 ounces. It's the youngest. It was the last. And I'm like, Mom, good thing you stopped, because like I was 8'12", my brother was 9'6", my sister was 10'4". It just kept climbing.
Well, I'm hoping for a healthy, happy birth, and I'm looking forward to you naming your child after me. I assume that's why you didn't want to tell me. You're confused.
Yeah. It's an A name, so it's not going to be Marcus, but it's just Arcus, which now that sounds pretty cool, actually.
I would be upset. But in terms of being upset, there's not many things that can make me upset. But you know what makes me happy?
Twinkies.
Decision Derby. We're going to play a little game called Decision Derby, chat. This is an exciting game you may know as Is It Banging? But basically, I'm going to throw a bunch of prompts at Alex and I, and we're going to have to decide within a short amount of time what our answer is. And it's all Christmas themed, right? Because it's that lovely time of the month. Feel free to chime in on chat if you have any things you want to add or thoughts. With the first question of Decision Derby. You ready for this?
Is it like bumper cars where our answers can be aggressive towards each other? Or is it a derby?
That's fine. There's really only two
Demolition
answers.
derby. It's you could like fly at each other. And...
It's a race, and we have to make decisions. All right, you ready for this? You got your brain around it? You watch too much Naruto? Okay. Question number one: would you rather have a Christmas tree that never stops playing holiday music, or holiday lights that never turn off?
Oh my gosh, they're both perfect. Second one.
Lights.
Yeah,
same here. I think that's an easy one. I would get sick of the music, but I'm perfectly fine with lights being on all the time.
I honestly play the music endlessly from like November or December 2nd all the way to Christmas anyways. It's only one time out of the year. Just go ahead.
Greg Goresny was like that, but we're not going to talk about him. Second question. Is everyone ready for this? Would you rather spend Christmas on a tropical island or at the North Pole?
North Pole.
Canada, North Pole. I'd go the same way. I can't imagine a Christmas without snow. I'm not sure where everyone else stands on that. But that's kind of my
welcome to my life and your guys' life nowadays. It's like, well, at least Pittsburgh.
There's snow on the ground right now. And last Christmas, there was so much snow.
I gave you my heart.
That we couldn't even get to Pittsburgh. So
and then you gave it away.
So, all right. This next question I think is fun because I really don't have experience in one area. Would you rather eat only candy canes for a week or a fruitcake for a month?
Candy canes, even if it's peppermint, I'll force my way through it, but I would prefer like the candy ones, sweet tarts, lifesavers.
Yeah, it doesn't say peppermint only, doesn't say peppermint only.
I didn't even hear your second option because the first option sounded amazing. Because that's what I've been doing all week.
Fruitcake for a month. Now I'm gonna go with fruitcake because candy canes I like, but I feel like I'd get sick of them quickly. But I've never had fruitcake, so like I personally just don't understand why people hate it. Like, everyone hates fruitcake.
You've never worked in an office setting?
I've worked in office settings all my life.
No one's brought in a fruitcake that just sat there all week and no one touched it?
No, because everyone has the joke. The fruitcakes are bad. It's always donuts or pastries of some other delicious. Like this guy, like 10 days ago, brought a bunch of cannolis to my house and they sat there all night. But I did finally eat some throughout the week. By the way, that guy they were great. The pizza you got was amazing. Here, hold on. You came up to my house. We're having a party, chat.
I brought $30 worth of cannolis and pizza for myself. Like it was for dinner.
Lunch. He gets there, brings that for lunch, then says, I want to go out for lunch, and takes people out to the Daddies, which is a great place. Then on top of that, he knew we were ordering 2 very, very large pizzas that night. So he never ate the pizza he brought. I did the next night, and it was amazing.
Yeah, I forgot.
I didn't even know what was on it. I was like, what is this? It was a taco salad pizza.
Yeah, it's an embarrassing pizza, but it was delicious, I'm assuming.
It was very good. It was good. Here we go. Would you rather have a talking Christmas tree or a talking snowman as your holiday companion?
Is the snowman mortal?
I mean, both would really not do well with fire.
Christmas tree.
Okay, there you go. I would go Christmas tree as well. I have a fondness for them. I feel like a Christmas tree could do more damage if it needed to be like a bodyguard. Just like a
I was just thinking about like cuddling on the couch. Christmas tree's less messy and smells good.
Interesting. Okay, this is my
last. You did say cuddling on the couch, right? I don't know.
However you choose to spend your time with your holiday companion is your choice, and I will judge you for it. Last question for you. All right, chat. Drum roll, please. Would you rather only be able to say ho 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 for a day, or have to wear a Santa suit in the summer?
How long?
All summer. So it's either wear a Santa suit all summer or have to go through an entire normal day for you, and all you could tell people was ho ho ho.
I'll take the first one. Ho ho ho.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I'll pick a podcast day to do it. I'm not going to pick a Saturday where I only talk to 2 people and play Avatar.
Well, there's like over 12 days of Christmas, so we'll have another podcast. That's one of those points, so you can bust it out.
Okay. Oh.
You're all right.
Oh,
All right. All right. Well, that's it. That was Decision Derby, ladies and gentlemen. Alex survived, which I am kind of surprised. But speaking of surviving, we're gonna move on to the Game Awards, which I don't know. Did you watch these at all, Alex?
No. Just the highlights, just the good stuff.
Yeah, I didn't watch them. I had it was the last thing on my mind. And apparently there's a lot of backlash about the Game Awards. Have you heard anything about this? Anyone discussing
Probably during the week that it happened, yeah.
Yeah. So in general, the theme that I've heard talking to my developer friends over at DevHour is that the Game Awards really don't do a whole lot to celebrate games and the developers, which I agree. I've never really got the sense that that's the place to go to where you really are going to dig into the nitty-gritty of game making. But the second comment was it almost just feels like a commercial for like an hour and a half, 2 hours about new games that are coming out, which I also don't disagree with. But
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing I enjoy about that show is not the awards because they mean nothing to me, but the fact that it's basically almost like a mini E3 where you're going to get a lot of new announcements.
Mhm.
So, but I figured we could break into the Game Awards, who the winners are and all that stuff. Let me pull it up. 1 second. 1 second. Alex, you can look at the Google Sheet now. That was a surprise.
Google Docs.
So like I'll go through the winners here and I want you to give me all of your thoughts. All right. I'm going to start at the bottom instead of going to the top for the big game of the year award winner. I'm not going to go now. Okay. Best family game was Super Mario Brothers Wonder. That makes sense.
That tracks. Yeah. Sounds
that
good.
could have been game of the year. Best fighting game, Street Fighter 6. You don't play fighting games. Did you play Mortal Kombat 1?
No, but I've played 11 and I played Dragon Ball Fighters. It's the only fighting game I've ever platinumed. Yeah, as far as 2D fighting, I've played a bunch. How dare you?
Well, I mean, I just feel
Just
like none
not
of these...
religiously. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, I didn't give Street Fighter 6 a shot because I think it was their DLC roadmap announced like before the game even released. But also the overworld and the wandering around in the overworld just seemed a little weird to me. But no, I know it's a complete almost reinvention, not a reinvention of the franchise, but definitely a revitalization. They fixed everything that people didn't like from 5, and this game, was crazy on launch. So
on the collegiate fighting game conference side, so the esports conference that I've been a part of, Street Fighter 6, I think was some of the most exciting gameplay to watch. In terms of just technicality and skill. I was a big fan. One of our competitors, I think he may have been from Canada, I forget, but his name was farmersonly.com. And I was just real excited about that.
I will say that the pool there for the nominations isn't really strong. That's a crazy. It's weird to see that Street Fighter 6 had to go up against Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2.
Which
it just seems like it was a
to that game's credit. That because the first one came out like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And it kind of they didn't pull it. You could still buy it. You're thinking about Multiverses, which was like setting records and then crashed and burned, and we may never see it again. But the big issue with the big issue with Nickelodeon All-Stars was that there were no voices or like voice acting. And so instead of just patching that game, they're like, you know what, screw it, we're just gonna do a second one. And it's got received really well. So if you're a fan of like Smash Brothers or platform brawlers and you like Nickelodeon characters, that's the game for you for sure. But yeah, Sir Stone in the chat here said Pocket Bravery should have won. I know Sir Stone is a big fan of fighting games. So I trust his opinion. I had not even heard of Pocket Bravery, but looking it up on Google, it's a original fighting game in SD style with charismatic characters, vibrant killers, and a combat system based on the classics from the 90s. That sounds pretty cool. I wonder if it's only $19 on Steam. I might have to check that out. I don't know if Paul's is still watching, but maybe something to think about. But yeah, that's a category I didn't really have any strong weight in the game for, so to say, right? Like I like Mortal Kombat 1. I played it. I thought the campaign was amazing, and I know people said that it was a better campaign than 11. But I also feel like this was a reboot for Mortal Kombat, and I don't think they can continue with this because it would just get way too confusing. Like, without spoiling the ending, it gets as insane as any game could get.
You're
And it
talking about
just
MK1?
yeah.
Okay.
All right, best RPG. This one does not surprise me. I'm sure it doesn't surprise you, but Baldur's Gate 3 won. Which, spoiler alert, Baldur's Gate 3 won Game of the Year as well. We'll get to that. Does Baldur's Gate interest you as well at all?
It didn't. It didn't because I had no background with the franchise or really any Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing. But the only thing that made me slightly get interested in the whole gameplay, I've never done that type of gameplay, was all the accolades. And everyone who just said they never played these types of games, but they love it. That made me start to think like, just because of all these accolades, I have to give it a try, right? That's the only thing that ever garnered any interest from me.
Yeah. And I kind of stand in a similar boat. I have little knowledge of D&D, lore or all that stuff. Watching the movie, I knew Baldur's Gate was a place. I know the older games. But these were just games that never appealed to me. So I'm one of those people. I could sit here from a distance and say technically what they're doing is impressive, and I could see why it wins these awards, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a game for me. And that's kind of where I lie. The competition it went up against was pretty good competition. Starfield, which I think that was the only category Starfield was nominated for, which kind of surprises me. Final Fantasy 16, which, a game we'll talk about more later. Lies of P, which you even said is possibly the best Souls game besides the actual Souls series. Sea of Stars, which I want to play too. Has anyone in chat played Sea of Stars? I'm curious. Have you played that one yet, Alex?
No, but I just because of all the accolades, I want to. I'd rather play that over Baldur's Gate. Like give that a try.
Same here.
Especially the art direction for it. Like it's just right up my alley.
Yeah, I agree. And Starfield, I already mentioned that. Now, next game, Best Action Adventure. Tears of the Kingdom won. I think that makes perfect sense. And it was up against a bunch of games that we're going to see throughout the rest of the awards, which was Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Resident Evil 4, Spider-Man 2, and Alan Wake 2. Spider-Man 2 did not win anything, which here's the thing. So hold on. I could pull this. Oh, okay. No. So remember whenever I was tracking on Metacritic data about like games that have gotten a 90 or above since 1994. Yeah. This is the 6th best year now by the end of it all for games with a 90 or above. So out of all of the years that Metacritic's been tracking data since the beginning of, unified ratings from like GamePro, Game Informer, this stands as the 6th best year. So there's a lot of good games.
It's 2011 or is it 2018 that was the best?
2011 is up there. I could pull it up now. I could even share my screen with this handy dandy tool we're
one
using.
Of those two. I think it's 2018.
So let me share it for the lovely viewers if I can manage to do it without being dumb. All right. Give me a second. I might be able to figure this out. Present. Share screen. Gain. No. Window. We're going to do Metacritic. Share. Look at that, guys. We technical.
Go team, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is a whole list of data over here compiled on all these different rankings. I haven't been keeping track with all the others like 80s or above, 70s or above and all that, but I've been keeping track on 90s. And so, yeah, number 1 is actually 2003. 2011 is 5, and we're sitting at number 6 overall, which you were right. 2017, 2018 were pretty good years, 2018 being higher, obviously. And then you see COVID hit. And look at 2021. Like that's a kind of a testimony to the delay, So
yeah.
I thought that was interesting. So like just to say that like Spider-Man 2 probably coordinated by Todd Howard, as Stone says here in the chat, but also just the fact that there's so much competition this year. Best action game is a game you're playing right now, Alex, Armored Core 6. What do you think of that so far? Last I talked to you, you were a little frustrated.
Oh yeah, because it's embarrassing because I was struggling against the first helicopter. The like it was just completely unexpected. Took me a couple tries, but then I beat him. But then just all the way. Well, the first couple of bosses I struggled, but then at some point a switch went off in my head, and I forced my way through the rest of the game, and that's pretty much it. It's not my type of gameplay. It's not something I'm used to. I did just like begrudgingly force my way through the rest of the game. I got to the last mission. I know it's the last mission because of the chapter count. And I'm just even debating, like, is it worth doing all the cleanup missions? Because you have to do mission replays to get S ranks. And there's just
Yeah.
some that I just never replayed. There's a bunch that I have A's. And I was like, do I even want to do the cleanup? And then I heard there's like 3 endings. So you got to play it through a couple of times and you can breeze through it. But I'm really forcing my way through it. I think I don't know. It just seems like in between the little fights, which end in like a couple of seconds, there's not much to do besides jumping and just controlling your booster and your
Mhm.
exhaustion. Whereas, it's not something like Breath of the Wild, where there's just like the
Sure.
exploration is part of it,
Yeah.
or, in between like the big fights and stuff, there's other stuff to do. It's not like that. I know it's just a different genre, but to me, it wasn't. I don't know. I'm gonna see what else it went up against for it to win.
Best action game, it went up
Yeah, I see it.
against Dead
See,
Island
like,
2, which
yeah,
surprises me, which was a good game. Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2.
yeah. See, I would have put Remnant 2, like Remnant 2, and even Dead Island 2 grabbed me more than Armored Core. And I even feel like Ghost Runner 2 is way more intense than any of the other games on here, but I never played it, so I'm assuming there's other facets of the game that made it lose out to Armored Core 6. And this is coming from like a FromSoft
Yeah.
diehard fan. I know this is a FromSoft game, and I've played all their other ones that fit into other genres. It's weird seeing Remnant 2 here because it's like a shooter, but it's also like an
That's
RPG game. But here
yeah.
it is, like, as action. But yeah, I forced my way through it. I can't say that I never played these games before and I absolutely loved it. That's all.
Yeah, so to your point, this is a FromSoft game, but this is a FromSoft game from before they were like
Yeah.
a ubiquitous name, right?
Yeah.
And they were pretty adamant when this was coming out. This is going to be an Armored Core game. So I have friends that love mech games and love Armored Core the series, and they're like, this is the best Armored Core ever. So this is probably their attempt to make it more broadly appealing, but I'm kind of in a similar boat. Like, I thought it was cool. I like the idea of mech games, but I do think there has to be something more to engage me throughout.
Mhm.
But it is very much an Armored Core game, but just super. It's first off gorgeous, very good looking game, very impressive game technically. But yeah, I got to a part where I killed a giant walking thing, and then I was
Oh
like, all
yeah.
right, I'm gonna take a break and
It's like the second or third mission.
boss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Best
Centipede.
ongoing. Well,
And
here I'm gonna move it on a little quick because there's like a bunch of categories I do not care about, like best mobile game, which Marvel Snap did not win, which it wasn't this year. So, best indie game, Sea of Stars. We talked about that. I want to check that out. And Dave the Diver, it was also nominated as well. Dave the Diver, I've heard is a good game. It's like by day you're hunting sushi, by night you're managing a sushi restaurant. But apparently it goes places. Like you're gonna end up stealing the Declaration of Independence at one point.
yeah. I was gonna say it starts out as that, but then like goes off into like pretty much a game, just like Control, all
Yeah.
obscure and stuff.
Yeah. It's definitely a Remedy game. Best ongoing game, which is important for you, Cyberpunk 2077. When are you going to play Cyberpunk?
Man, I wonder. Maybe that should be my January kill time game.
Yeah, baby, kill time game.
Baby kill time. Yeah, let's be careful with our word choice in here. So, because I'm waiting for Rebirth, but maybe Cyberpunk. Maybe finally do it.
Yeah, Rebirth is not till February, the end of February, which, by the way, viewers and listeners, if you are listening later on after this aired or watching now on Twitch, do exclamation giveaway. We're giving away 2 copies of that game. Games for Impact. I've never heard of it. Best performance. I was kind of bummed out about this because, like, as much as I thought Baldur's Gate 3 looked impressive, there was nothing that stood out from the videos I've seen where I'm like, that performer was amazing. But this guy, Neil Newbon, won for Baldur's Gate 3. Good for him. Idris Elba was nominated for Cyberpunk's DLC. And Ben Starr for Final Fantasy 16. He's the main character's voice actor, which he's kind of had a He's gotten very popular. He's a funny guy. He's been on a lot of game shows and all that stuff. He was also nominated as well. But yeah, Neil Newbon won. So I mean, Baldur's Gate took a lot. Took a lot. You don't have much to say about that, do you?
About best performance?
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's warranted. Yeah. I don't have any opinions, especially with Final Fantasy 16. To me, the score is still in my head for Final Fantasy 16, but nothing about the voice acting really stood out. I was trying to think who in that game did I like more than Ben Starr, and it's probably whoever voiced Dion. I want to play that game again. Oh my gosh.
Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Best audio design was Hi-Fi Rush, which makes perfect sense. It was a music rhythm driven combat action game. That's a game I still need to play. Why are you slapping your hands here?
I scrolled up because of what I just said. I didn't know.
I thought you knew.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. I'm glad that happened.
Here's a question. Anyone watching right now or listening, if you played Hi-Fi Rush, if you have, let me know what you think of it. Best score, Final Fantasy 16, the one award they did win.
It's still in my head.
Best art direction and best narrative, Alan Wake 2. This is a game that I think out of all of the games that won a lot of awards, this is the one that goes, this is the game I should play.
Yep.
Which I don't know if you could play this game.
I'm going to try it now because everyone's gushing about it. I think we're going to have a guest appearance. Keep talking.
Is it Joy?
I see the belly.
It's your wife's belly. It's your baby in the belly.
Yeah.
All right. Alan Wake 1, you should play. You can get that for PlayStation.
Is it remastered or re-release?
Yes, it's remastered on PlayStation.
Okay. Found another January game.
And I will say it's kind of like a more mature version of Luigi's Mansion. You go around, you have to point your flashlight at things to kind of stun them, then you have to shoot them. Luigi's Mansion uses a vacuum, but it's basically Luigi. There's the baby. There's Joy.
Look at that.
You did that.
Yeah. It's crazy. Her little boy in there. You can hear his heartbeat if you put your ear up to the belly now. It's like it's so fast.
About 140, 150 beats per minute.
Yeah, 150. It is just that's surreal.
It's very surreal. It's a beautiful thing. Again, anyone who needs to conceive a child and has struggled, apparently my guest bedroom is really strong.
Yeah, we should tell. I don't even know how to say it. Plantita. I'm not good. English is my fourth language.
She, like your wife, is Filipino.
I think you've told me this. But yeah, we are 7 days apart. Our unborn children so far scheduled. The scheduled release date for mine is the 20th. And the scheduled release date for Mark's is the 27th.
Except mine's already bigger and stronger, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's the drugs.
It's definitely the drugs. It's definitely the drugs. But yeah, Alan Wake 2, definitely more of a spoopy game, but it's a game that I need to get back into. The first one at least. And it won Best Game Direction as well. So it took 3 awards. Then last, Baldur's Gate 3 Game of the Year. Something that I really don't necessarily care about, but I'm excited for it. Like it's just, again, I have no issues with it. I would have been very happy if Resident Evil 4 Remake won, Alan Wake 2 won, Super Mario Brothers Wonder won, or Tears of the Kingdom. But Baldur's Gate 3 winning makes sense to me. It's just like, yeah, I have no emotional attachment to that. So
I will say, and this is, you can consider this related or not, but it's me forming my own opinion. But Baldur's Gate 3, the IP is licensed out through Hasbro. And I know this company put a lot of work into it and developed the game and everything. And I was thinking about getting Baldur's Gate 3. But then it was announced last week that Hasbro laid off 1,100 employees 7 days before Christmas. And at the same time, the CEO got an $8 million bonus. So that greedy person could have just got a $2.5 million bonus and given all of those employees a $5,500 severance to tie them over. But no, just let off. So like that kind of stopped me from just throwing money at a game that might end up in Hasbro's pockets. It's going to take some time, and maybe I'll look for it at GameStop, so I'm not giving my money directly to Hasbro. But that kind of stuff rubs me the wrong way. And like I was already on the fence about it, and then you just made me hate.
I mean, I didn't say anything about Hasbro. I did not know that. I imagine they had
Yeah.
publishing rights into it because it's the IP that's owned by
Yep.
them. But I know the team that made it, Larian Studios, is a privately owned team too. So I know that again, I don't know what the breakdown is on retention on rates and stuff like that, but I hear where you're coming from, at the very least.
Yeah, it was just the only thing that could have rubbed me. Like it's the only sandpaper I bumped into.
Yeah, sounds like grade 5 sandpaper for you too, which
Yep.
is yeah.
Really gritty.
That's gonna leave a rash. All right. We're gonna move on. Before we do, I want to call it this great
I know.
quote. Great quote from
we keep hiding it.
Stop it. Let me have the control, Alex. Delayed baby is eventually good. A rush baby is forever bad. Shigeru Miyamoto. Is this true? Puddle Jumper.
No, it just replaced game from baby. That's a real quote.
Well, it's funny you say that.
Oh my
There's a very
gosh.
classic book in the world of software development called The Mythical Man Month. And there's a quote from that book that I've heard all the time in my career. Where like, hey, it takes 9 months to a baby. I could throw 20 more mothers in there, but it's still going to take 9 months. And that's their point with like development. Like it doesn't matter how many people you throw at the product or the job, it takes a certain time. Which nowadays, when people say it, people get offended. I'm like, it's naturally true by all biological standards, but there are some people that get upset by it. So we'll digress. Still takes 9 months, everyone. So Shigeru Miyamoto, you are right. All right, we're gonna move forward to some news before we get into the larger thing, which is we're gonna talk about our personal games of the year, our favorite games we're looking forward to as well. But in terms of news, there's a mega PlayStation Store sale going on. To quote Video Game Chronicles article by Tom Ivan, it is the biggest sale of the year with over 4,500 discounts, all on one game, all on Baldur's Gate 3. So
4,500 discounts.
Yeah. You can get Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 for 30% off, EA Sports Football Club off, Hogwarts Legacy for 50% off, Diablo 4 for 40, Mortal Kombat 1 for 40% off. Maybe that's your cue.
Wait,
it's going to be
what did you say?
Mortal Kombat 1 for 40% off. It's going to be running until January 17th. So when you guys get those the Buco bucks from Santa Claus, good old Saint Nick, maybe you have a PlayStation. I know Puddle Jumper has a PlayStation. Maybe you're looking for some games to play over the holidays. This is your chance. So that's kind of exciting.
I will say, if anyone says like, "Oh yeah, those sales come up all the time," but it's full of bloat, this sale actually has like a lot. You might want to check it out or check out your wish list today because a lot of people online are saying, "Yeah, there's a lot of surprising discounts on there." So check it out.
Steam's having a lot of sales right now too. This is common for shop marketplaces this time of year, but yeah, definitely check it out. I might buy some Steam items. I don't know. And this is some of the most exciting news to come out of the Game Awards. So again, the Game Awards nowadays, more or less, hey, look what games are coming down the road type of thing. But the coolest announcement I saw, and this may appeal to some of our older gamers out there, Sega basically announced they're bringing back some of their biggest franchises from the Genesis era to the Dreamcast era. Alex, did you see this video trailer? Did I send it to you? So do you remember Crazy Taxi?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you remember Jet Set Radio?
No, I never played that.
Oh my gosh.
I do know about Shinobi.
Shinobi, Golden Axe?
No.
Streets of Rage?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's some new news on top of that from a managerial meeting. But basically, I'm going to go down what it says, some bullet points. Crazy Taxi will have innovative and fresh driving, cheerful feeling of freedom with a fusion of nature and city. Pill out on the new stage of Crazy Taxi. I'm not gonna go into that. Jet Set Radio. I mean, it's just exciting. So, I mean, a new Streets of Rage is something I've always wanted. Streets of Rage 4 was awesome, but this looks like they're putting a lot of love and tender care into some of these classic IPs. Jet Set Radio is almost a genre of its own. There really isn't any other game like it. There have been games that have attempted to be it, but it's still just like, yeah, they're trying to be a Jet Set Radio type game, which is kind of crazy to think about, a game that holds that much of a stronghold on that commodity type of an idea, that has only released like 2 games, I think. So this is cool. I'm curious if anyone in the chat is looking forward to any of these new games. Golden Axe was, I don't know. I had friends that like Golden Axe, and I was never about it personally. So personally, Alex, are you typing in chat?
No, I was typing to you. There's a duplicate link in the Game Bytes if you want me to spell it out for you. I was just making sure you saw that.
It's intention. Oh wow, that's not on purpose. That's not on purpose. New Streets of Rage, let's go. Sure, Sir Stone. We're gonna have to play it when it comes out. We're definitely gonna have to play it when it comes out. Speaking of other things that have been announced, though, Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer. Did you watch this?
Yes.
I did not.
Okay.
I don't feel like I'm a good enough gamer because I didn't watch the trailer. People can yell at me if they want. It looks like they're returning to Vice City, which is really cool. That was my favorite and like last game I fully played was GTA Vice City.
That's the last full GTA game you played?
I played San Andreas and I'd never finished it because it was huge. And then GTA 4, I never touched. GTA 5, I picked up real cheap at GameStop one day, played it for like 10 minutes, and I was like, I'll come back to this, and I never did. And yeah. And what about you?
I think it's the same thing. GTA 5, I think, came out, or I played it around the same time as Far Cry 3. It was when I was living in that weird dilapidated house that you visited.
Yeah.
And same thing, played it for like 5 minutes, put it away, and kept playing Far Cry 3, and then never came back to it ever. And it's been 10 years that game's been out. But no, the whole online stuff and pay to play and all that stuff, I just don't care for it.
Yeah, from what I understand, the main campaign's actually really, really good. But
Yeah.
again, it's just not something that really, I don't know. GTA appealed to me when I was like a young, rebellious teenager, but now, like a game with just that amount of freedom, I don't know. There's like a part of me that's like, it's so hyper realistic nowadays. I don't know if I could do the things I did as a teenager and feel okay with myself. We talked about that at the party.
Yeah.
Like it's just kind of, it's different. But I mean, I think Vice City is a good setting for it. And the best thing about GTA was always the soundtracks, in my opinion, the radio stations. So
yeah. And the weird parody songs.
Yeah. This is something that you should be really excited about, Alex. Did you see the Monster Hunter Wilds announcement?
I saw that it was announced, yes.
This is a game that has generated such excitement. It has now made Monster Hunter World achieve its highest Steam player count in 3 years.
People are so excited about a new game that man, that's crazy because like Monster Hunter World came out and then even kind of relaunched itself as Iceborne when that big DLC came out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wonder how many of those people went back to World because they played the Switch game that just got ported.
Rise,
that's what it was. And Sunbreak, same thing. Sunbreak was a almost relaunch because it was a massive DLC.
Rise and Sunbreak, I played a good bit. There's a part of me that just, I don't know, I don't know if you played both, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my experience with both games is like Monster Hunter World was amazing. And I felt like a lot of the UI and systems and menus were almost optimized to appeal to Western markets. And I feel like Monster Hunter Rise was a little more of a return to its traditional settings in certain ways in terms of how the game played, but it was still a great game.
Yeah.
But apparently with Wilds, it's looking like they're really trying to dig into that Monster Hunter World approach and bring it back even bigger and better. So we played that game a ton.
Yeah, that was like the most hours I played that year was that game. And I was like, how? Like, but I realized because there's a huge time sink just to get, just go out on one mission. And like, just all the crafting and stuff. But I was surprised that year because I played like so many games, but World took up the most hours. It's the same thing that I had this year. It's a surprise what game ate up the most hours.
Which was what again?
We're going to get into that right later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. A few more things I want to get to. I'm going to skip through one of these items here and talk about this exciting thing. There was a Marvel's Blade game announced, which there's a little part of me that screamed. Prepubescent levels of high-pitched screams came out of me because Blade was always my favorite Marvel character. Did you look confused? Wesley Snipes, Blade.
Oh no, I was looking at the most recent comment. I was like, I thought they were talking about us, but I think they're talking about Blade.
Here, focus. This is just a new format for the show. I assume he's asking. Arcane Studios. So now Microsoft's Arcane Studios is working on a Marvel's Blade game, and that's a studio I trust making a
Yes.
game. And
Well, we trusted Rocksteady to make, more stuff. And what came out or what's trying to come out is Justice League.
fair enough. I think Arcane and a Warner Brothers run studio are a little bit different. To that point, Justice League was just delayed again after they finally had this as the announcement. But I'm excited about this. There's a lot of conjecture right now. Is this going to be only on Xbox? Is it only going to be on Xbox Game Pass, PC, or are they going to put it on multiple platforms? I think Microsoft's philosophy is we want to put it everywhere we can, but they're not really worried about selling consoles. They're worried about just selling games and their service.
You sure they're not just trying to do another Redfall?
I don't believe so.
You don't think that's a goal?
No. But that is funny because Sir Stone is right here. At first I was like, are they bringing back Redfall? Are they really investing in it? But it just looked cool. It was a cool little intro trail. We saw like no gameplay, but apparently those Blade games back in the day were really popular. Did you ever play them?
No.
Like Xbox, PlayStation 2, or did anyone in chat play them?
I was a child. I was not allowed to have violence or blood.
It's around the same time as GTA, so I don't know about that. Lighting fires, something I've done in my time. The developer of No Man's Sky. You've seen the news around this, right?
No.
Developer of No Man's Sky.
Oh, I know about No Man's Sky and that whole thing, but
they announced so let's talk about No Man's Sky real quick. No Man's Sky, Sony put in a lot of marketing out there. The game really wasn't where it was saying it was going to be. No Man's Sky today is an amazing game.
Yeah, probably if it was that ambitious and that thorough on launch would have been insane at what it is today.
Yeah. And it's an amazing game. Like there's at least once a month I'm like, I should go back and play that game. But they had some pain points, some lessons learned. It was an interesting time because Sony didn't own the studio, but published a lot of it, so put a lot of money behind it. So there's some interesting, I don't know, retrospective I'd like to see in terms of who was driving, saying we have to have this messaging at this time. Was it Sony? Was it the studio? Who knows? Needless to say, they announced their newest game, Light No Fire, which is a high-level fantasy action adventure game with a lot of the systems that makes No Man's Sky unique, but it's only focused on one planet. And it's, from what I can gather, saying we're basically going to make a planet the size of Earth.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to have this endless adventure. The curious thing that I have is they really didn't come out with an announced date or anything like that. They said it's a little bit away, but it's been heavily marketed right now. Like I was talking to a Ginger Prime on YouTube and Twitch. He was asking me these questions, and I'm like, yeah, that's a great point, because why would they be like, I'm seeing trailers on YouTube, IGN, like just straight up marketing ads for this game that is no announced date yet. Like, why would they be pushing this game so strongly, so early, considering the accidents and incidents that happened with the launch of No Man's Sky, like just being such a failure? And we were talking about it. I'm like, there could be a couple of reasons for that, right? It could be that maybe the game's closer than we think, or maybe there's going to be a beta or early access coming sooner than we think. Or B, maybe the game, maybe they learned their lessons from the first launch. It was rough, but they're basically going to do it again with a little less BS, and at the same time try to attract some publisher investment. Maybe Xbox is going to come in. Who knows? Because there's no studio like that behind it now. But it is interesting because if you you might see Light No Fire somewhere on an ad on the internet today, and it's kind of just like, we don't know when this game is coming out. Yeah. So I think it's probably a mix of it's coming sooner than we think, and they don't care that they overpromised on the initial game. They're gonna go hard again, and I feel like people actually have faith in them for what they did. Even if the game launches almost bare bones, people be like, no, they're gonna get this right, and when they get this right, it's gonna be a game we play for a decade.
Yeah, I feel like they've, at least the people who've played No Man's Sky, know what they're getting themselves into. Just because of how much post-release, post-launch support the game has had. So I think they have years of experience with what works and what doesn't work as well with No Man's Sky, and what people liked doing and what people spent no time doing.
Oh, they have a ton of data on that for sure.
Yeah.
They know how many times your player went to the bathroom, how many times you personally went to the bathroom.
Mhm.
They can
Yeah.
predict accurately with data just from the delay between certain types of breaks if you have a healthy prostate or not. It's
Mhm.
impressive.
Yeah.
Going forward to the next topic, Alex, you got to tell me about this. They announced some Final Fantasy 16 DLC at the Game Awards. One of the DLCs launched day of the announcement, and there's another one coming next year. What is this all about?
The most recent DLC added a couple of hours of gameplay, but also like a big final boss, which not going to spoil it, but it's someone who's in pretty much every Final Fantasy game, and is even a summon in some.
Goku.
But that was called Echoes of the Fallen. Yeah, it's Goku. It's Kakarot. But there's another one called Rising Tide coming out. I don't know much about it. But the Echoes of the Fallen DLC is out already. It's like 10. I think it's $10.
Have you played it yet?
Mm-mm. Because I did not know about it because I've been distracted for the past 3 weeks. No, I just read about it online and because the main boss being in it is newsworthy. This isn't just some little fart of DLC that comes out that is unremarkable.
I like to think. Give me some examples of little fart DLC if you're going to use that term.
Just a little 5-hour campaign that wasn't relevant to the story at all. Let's see. I don't know, like Chocobo Racing. If they did a Final Fantasy DLC that was just Chocobo Racing, that's a little fart. This thing seems bigger in scope, and mainly because of the inclusion of this final boss.
I know
it's kind of like, why wasn't he in it to begin with? But also, I will say the same thing with the Behemoth. Like the whole time I was playing Final Fantasy 16, I was like, it's weird that they don't have a Behemoth in this. It's in every single Final Fantasy game, including Kingdom Hearts. And I was wondering, oh, you know what? Now that I say that, the Behemoth was almost the same part of the game as Kingdom Hearts 1 or 2. What was it? I think it's 2. I think it's after the fight with Axel. But yeah, the Behemoth, I was looking for it, and it ended up being like one of the hardest bosses in the game, Final Fantasy 16, outside of the summon fights.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy is known for having some extremely long boss fights. I remember Final Fantasy 15 had a boss fight that people were saying this could take upwards of an hour. It was like
the
post-game boss.
Yeah, it's supposed to take like 24 hours in game. With the accelerated clock, it's supposed to be a long fight. The Adamantoise.
There's a part of me that really likes that, and there's a part of me that's like, man,
why?
I got stuff to do. Yeah.
Can I pause it?
Can I go to the bathroom? My prostate is terrible.
You got to set up they give you a warning. You know how before the end of the game they say like, hey, this is past the point of no return. Do you want to clean up? Before those boss fights, they're like, do you want to insert a catheter now or it's going to take a while? So I think there's a little disclaimer that pops up.
That's good to know. I have some leftover home catheter insertion devices from the PICC line days.
Yeah, just make sure they're dishwasher safe. That's all.
You just gotta use some saline and squirt it up there. Jeez, what's wrong with me? Sorry.
Why'd you keep going?
Because I actually used a PICC line. And like I actually had to have I had a catheter inside of me, but it was in my heart. And so I would clean it out with saline. I apologize. That was yeah. Anyways, moving forward, speaking of your favorite anime ever, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero. This is now the official title for the Budokai Tenkaichi game that's been announced. Did you see the trailer?
Yes.
It looks like a 3D action Dragon Ball Z game.
That's what Budokai Tenkaichi was. Sparking, by the way, is the Japanese title for the game, both of them. When they were released in the Americas, that's when they had the Budokai Tenkaichi title. But it's the same thing. They're just going to merge the Japan and global version into one title, Sparking Zero.
That makes sense. I feel like that's happened
but
if other games of late.
Yeah. If anyone's confused, yes, this is Budokai Tenkaichi 4 that was announced last year.
Yeah.
But this is
we covered that.
One. Yeah.
That was one of our episodes. You spent like 20 minutes. Yeah. Deep dive on that.
Yeah, I still go back, pour myself a bowl of cereal and go back and rewatch that episode and learn about it again.
All right. That's enough for the news. We're going to get on to more important things, which is our top games of 2023. So this isn't like a list. This is it. This is the best game, anything like that. I'm going to be working on YouTube videos early 2024 to talk about that list for me. But I just wanted to spend some time talking about our favorite games of 2023, Alex. And I thought you could go first. Like, what are the games you spent the most time on this year?
So for this is all PS5 for the Smash or for Smash. The only thing I played on my Switch that was like worth mentioning this year was Tears of the Kingdom, and I bought Super Smash Brothers Ultimate and spent a lot of time on that just because couch co-op here with my wife and friends. Those were the Switch games I played this year. For the PS5 though, I spent 735 hours so far this year. I think that averages 2 hours a day. I'm not going to tell you how many 16-hour days I had sprinkled in there,
You had a
but
few.
I had like twice a month. But I had, I think, 36 games on the PS5 this year. My top 5 games played, like hours wise. Let me try to get to that sheet. Number 5 was Liza P. Number 4 was Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. Number 3 was Remnant 2. So, like, those are all the same genre. Number 2 was Final Fantasy 16 at 52 hours.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
the 3 games had 52 hours. Those 3 games all had 52.
Okay.
But my highest spent this year in 2023 was Marvel's Midnight Suns, which completely surprised me. That was a quest to platinum, and that doesn't count the 20 years or 20 or 30 hours I put into it when it released in 2022. So like that was
That's
surprising
right.
to me.
That came out July 2022. Didn't she buy that game twice?
No, I think it came out December 2022, like the first week. It was like a end of the year sleeper hit.
July
Um,
2022.
July, not
Mhm.
December.
You're correct.
Oh, okay. Well, I bought it in December. Maybe that was when I don't know why I bought it in December. Maybe that was when it was like game of the month or something. But um I was surprised because like the other games I played this year, obviously Jedi Survivor, Octopath Traveler 2, Crisis Core, Dead Island 2. These were like my monthly highs. Octopath Traveler 2, Wo Long, Dead Island 2, Jedi Survivor, Final Fantasy 16. July was Final Fantasy 12 because I had some leftover desire to play a Final Fantasy game. Then Sniper Elite, One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, Lies of P, and now Armored Core is this year or December, but I think it's going to get overtaken soon by Avatar Frontiers of Pandora.
Did you pick that up?
I did because I could not get it out of my head that there exists a Far Cry like game that might be better than Far Cry games. And so like I could not like get that out of my head that like I need to see what that's like. And I'm not forcing my way through it like I was with Armored Core. I'm actually enjoying it. Although
Okay.
I will say that the combat, I don't remember the combat being exactly remarkable in Far Cry games, but I definitely, prefer the weapon loadouts. But I would say the combat's not too like, something to write home about. But the world
Interesting.
design and the navigation of it, it seems like this might be one of the best looking like art direction for a video game. I think this entire year. It's absolutely insane. But you can picture the movie. Now just imagine walking around in that world. It seems like there is a lot of care and attention to detail in all the different biomes. It's absolutely insane. I don't think there's that too much enemy variety. Not enemy variety, but animal. There's a lot of plant variety, but I don't think there's too much wildlife variety in the game. So that kind of like every time I see the same shit, the same like animal over and over again, I'm kind of like, same thing. But
I
my
mean,
yeah,
are the
my
animals the main enemy type you commonly go against besides like
no,
humans or other
absolutely not. It's
Navi?
the RDA. It's the humans. The same base is always the same military guys going and in mech suits. It's not a lot of variety in it. This game is about. I will say, if you think of this game as you are going to be exploring the world and getting ingrained in like the Navi like way of life and exploration and care for wildlife and stuff and foraging, it's more about that. It seems like the how that Horizon game that came out that was VR,
Yeah.
it's more like just showcasing. It's not a lot about action. I feel like
Mhm.
this game was that. Like it's more about just being a Navi. It's almost like the RDA was added after the fact. Even though the story's like really well ingrained and well designed and written and everything, it just seems like if you think of this as just like Navi wandering around and doing Navi stuff, and then all of a sudden the humans show up later. It almost seems like that game could have been this, because it seems
Okay.
like kind of after the fact.
Interesting.
There's not too much depth to the fighting gameplay.
Interesting.
I
I want to.
played, sorry.
I was going
Wait,
to say I want to check it out, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. I also played Theater Rhythm for Final Fantasy and Lords of the Fallen. Those are like the only other 2 games worth, knocking off my list for this year.
I hope
But-
everyone in chat caught all the 30 games Alex has played 50 hours or more of this year.
I'm just trying to give some perspective, because there's a lot of games that probably people say like, well, why this game's way better than these? But these are the ones that I actually played this year. And I will say, probably as far as like going back, and Sonic Frontiers, did I mention that?
I like that one.
Beat the crap out of that one so fast.
We know Happy Cynic in the chat is a big fan of Sonic Frontiers as well. So
Yeah, it was a pleasant. I like that one. But I think my favorite gaming experience this year was Final Fantasy 16.
I believe
Out of
that.
everything I just mentioned, it's the only thing that's like still in my head that I want to like I could actively get back into pretty quickly, especially the music. I'm a sucker for that though, because I was playing Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm, which is just a glorified playthrough of all the music of all the Final Fantasy series, which is something I love. So
Yeah. No. Okay. No, those are some good ones. I feel like when I talked to you in July while you were playing Final Fantasy 16, you were very excited about that compared to when I talked to you throughout other months and you were playing a new game. So I that doesn't
Mhm.
surprise me at all. That's a game I still want to play. I'm at that point where I'm playing 7 Remake over here, and I still want to beat Crisis Core. Although some people were telling me the other day in chat, you should wait to beat Crisis Core until after you play Rebirth, but I don't know.
yeah.
Okay, so then I don't feel like I have to beat Crisis Core.
No, you should play Rebirth, and then Crisis Core came out years ago, but no. I was thinking you should play Crisis Core. You should finish Crisis Core first, because I think something's going to hit a little harder in Rebirth. Or no, before Rebirth. Oh my gosh, what's it called? Remake. Yeah,
That train is so loud.
Oh, you hear it now?
Yeah, I was joking with you when I said I couldn't hear it. How can you not hear it?
Because I thought the mic is like facing right here, but maybe it's
it doesn't
bouncing.
matter. Okay.
I think because it's like one of those Marvel things. Well, I know you know who Zach is, but it's like one of those Marvel things. Like at the end of Eternals, randomly this little dwarf shows up that's like alcoholic and stuff. You're like, who is this guy and why does it matter? I think finishing Crisis Core.
Don't spoil anything, because when you say
Oh,
that,
I'm not.
things together.
Because there's a ton of characters in Crisis Core.
There
But
are.
like, I just think if you finish Crisis Core, which everyone who's played Final Fantasy Remake did years ago on the PSP, if they had one, I think it'll matter. I think you'll like it more. But I liked Crisis Core. It was my #1 game of January.
Yeah, I played it a lot. I kept switching back to playing it on Steam and PlayStation. Now that I have my Steam Deck again, I'm gonna just beat it on there. Cynic calls out in the chat about Sonic Frontiers. He wants to go back and finish the newest DLC, because they did release an update, because the difficulty in that new DLC was apparently extremely hard to the point where it wasn't really just well balanced or anything like that. But I heard good things about that as well. I'm going to give you a list of my 6 games that I have enjoyed the most this year. And then I'm going to give you a list of games that I still need to finish that I'm enjoying that came out this year, and games that I want to play that I missed out on as well. So games that are my 2023 games that I've missed out on playing. I'm going to do this. You like the power. Alex has all kinds of power. What if I did this? All right. So games for 2023 that I've missed out on that I want to play. Hi-Fi Rush. That's a game that I heard great things about. It sounded like something completely up my alley. It's on Game Pass. I might buy it on Steam because it's pretty affordable on Steam, and it'd be cool to play on Steam Deck as well. Final Fantasy 16. It's something I really want to get to. I want to finish the other games I'm playing. Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2018 is a game that made me cry, and just haven't had the time to play it yet. Avatar, you mentioned that, and then WarioWare Move It. So those are games that I really, really, really want to get to. But again, I'm hoping over the Christmas break here, because I'm off till like January 4th, that I'll be able to do that. Games that I still need to finish that I've started and got a good distance into. Metroid Prime Remake. You don't know about Metroid Prime, Alex? You should pick it up on your Switch. You can talk, all right? This isn't.
Didn't you say that terrified you? Didn't you say it was like a horrifying game? Like there was some intense things in it. Was it that?
I don't think so. I don't
Okay.
think so.
I'm just gonna go back in my corner.
Metroid Prime is it's got a darker vibe to it, but it's just the remake is glorious. It looks amazing on the Switch. Jedi Survivor. You didn't bring that up at all.
I mentioned it. It was my
Mhm.
highest played game of May.
It was hard to keep track, but yeah, that's a game that I got really far into and just
You didn't finish it.
I did not finish it. I forget why. What came out in Tears of the Kingdom came out. That's why. Yeah, we all know the answer to that.
For
And then
me,
pick-
Final Fantasy 16 took it away.
Yeah, and then Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4, I've heard great things about Pikmin 4. I want to get back to playing it, just haven't had time to do it. I try to only play one game at a time now. Like I've started multiple games and then I'm like, let me just finish one. I feel better about myself when I do that.
Embrace the chaos.
I like order.
Chaos.
And balance, though, chaos. When we go back to chaos, I'll play that hardcore heavy music again. That dance pop.
Yeah.
So my favorite 6 games that I've played this year and completed beginning to end. All right. Starting off, Star Ocean Second Story R. This is a franchise I knew nothing about, and I was excited about it because of the Octopath like graphics. I'm like, okay, let me give this game a try, right? And it's developed by Square Enix. The original Star Ocean series, though, was started by a studio called Tri-Ace. This is important because after I played Star Ocean, I went back to the series that Star Ocean is very much alike, which is the Tales series. But Tri-Ace was started because when they made the first Tales of game back in the 90s, there was a disagreement between that dev team where basically people were like, we want to make a space themed version of this game. And they're like, no, we want to stick to the fantasy kind of type version of this game. And a bunch of people left, went off and started Tri-Ace and made Star Ocean Second Story R. You did not buy the game, Alex, but I feel like you were considering buying it after I told you about it.
Yeah.
You would love the heck out of it. It's got a very similar combat system to Tales in terms of like it's an RPG, but when you encounter a group of enemies, it turns into like a real-time combat system with, you can move around, you have all these different spells and RPG elements, but it's action oriented as well. It's just fun. The story was good, and there's like over 80 or 90 different endings depending on the nature of the relationships you have in the game. Like the ending is the ending, but like the story of silhouettes that you get at the end about what happens to the characters changes in up to 80 or 90 different ways. So and you get 5 endings a game depending on who's with you, because there's a lot of people in the party that you can miss or exclude based on who you do include in your party as you meet them. It's a really cool game. And it just surprised me. Like I couldn't put it down at night, which I think if you're an RPG fan or you're a Tales fan, you would love this game. So Diablo 4. Played the heck out of it, had a lot of fun. It's a great Diablo game. It's a good balance between what Diablo 3 did well, but also what Diablo 2 was on top of that. And I'm looking forward to coming back to with DLC. I did not care much for seasonal content as much as I like the seasonal ladders in those types of games. I'm not someone that can like play a game over and over and over again. I want to come back to it with a new character when there's an actual new portion of the story for me to experience as well. That's a great game. Super Mario RPG Remake, a game as well, Alex, you should try. The original, first time Square and Nintendo worked together. This game is apparently easier than the original. I think it's still a great game. The characters have a ton of personality and charm in it. And it just, it was one, again, I beat this, then I went right in the Star Ocean, and both games, RPG games too, which typically don't do that for me, where I'm like, I can't put it down. I think I'm turning into an RPG fan as I get older and my response time dies down. and I live frustrated knowing that I beat Dark Souls 3 this year as well, including the DLC. Mortal Kombat 1. I love the campaign. I will never play that game competitively, especially as I watch competitors play in CFGC. I'm like, nope, I can't do that. Sir Stone in the chat, other people in the chat that are competitive gamers of that nature, good for you. I can't do it. Just not my speed. And then these next 2 aren't going to surprise you. Super Mario Brother Wonder. Best Mario game since Super Mario Brothers World. It's just the charm, the the platforming, the gameplay, the art direction, the exploration and mystery that you get reminds me a lot of what they did in World. The secret endings, the soundtrack, just parts of this game where, I just felt like I was in a musical, Paul's is saying they're throwing me the next Mortal Kombat tournament. I'm not a student, so, I'll do it though. I would be embarrassing. But yeah, Wonder was amazing. If you need to play Wonder, Alex. I know you're sitting there on your Switch and you're like, I only play Smash Brothers, but you need to play Wonder, especially if you like co-op games with the wife. It's an amazing game. An amazing game.
Probably the next Switch purchase I'll have.
And then Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom came out. I did not think you could outdo Breath of the Wild. I thought Breath of the Wild was great. Can I play another game just like it? I don't know. I had doubts. This is the cliche thing everyone says, but it's cliche for a reason. But I really do feel like they took Breath of the Wild and they built on top of it in so many great ways that I put like 100 hours into that game real quick. Then I took a break throughout the summer. They were traveling. There were some other games. And then I went back and finished it like a month and a half, 2 months ago. Best ending in any Zelda game I've ever played. Like the climactic ending, the stuff that happens in this game, one of the best climactic endings of any game I've ever played. And Zelda games aren't known for like, oh my gosh, like the exposition and narrative and story. There's not a lot of story through words, but there's a lot of story typically through like just events. And the events in this game are just incredibly impressive. It made me have so many thoughts. Paul's is going to sign me up for DeVry University. Here we go. Just ignore the bill. Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's my list. I'm curious, chat, if you guys have any games that are on that list that you agree with. If there are any games that you feel like we missed, I want to know. Please send them in the chat. We'll put them up on the screen here.
Yeah, I just want to see whatever. Oh, well, not that one. I just want to see what other people's no, not that one. Top game of the year was.
Yeah. Let us know. Let us know.
Talking extensively about 12 games you like display this year, and then give us your favorite.
I think it was about 14.
Both are completely acceptable options.
I think it was about 14. Now, next I want to talk about just games we're looking forward to in 2024.
Anyone want to guess what mine is?
Prince of Persia.
No, it's 100%. I've been I don't know how many days go by without me thinking about Rebirth, because it's weird having a title called Birth right next to the birth of my child, but also this is the only game that definitively is on my list that I literally just can't wait for it. Other games on my radar are Helldivers 2 and Rise of Ronin. Rise of the Ronin. But Rebirth is really just clogging or filling my mind right now.
Yeah. Stone brings up a good point. Octopath Traveler 2 is on my list of games I need to get to. I've heard that has some of the best RPG combat ever. He's saying it's a top 3 game of all time.
His top 3.
I know. I'm just saying like that. I'm putting that out there. It's like, that's a strong statement.
That's another one that had a very, attractive score. I love the soundtrack for that game and the previous, but like when I fired up Octopath Traveler 2 and like that same theme song comes on, I was just like, oh, here we go again. But yeah, Octopath it's one of my favorite games. That whole series, the art direction. Didn't Star Ocean kind of mimic that with like, does it have pixel characters but HD background?
So yeah, I mean Star Ocean, I mean a lot of games do this, but it's really
now
it's a HD 2D type of graphic where you have 2D assets on a 3D background, which in reality is very time consuming. Like it would be easier for them to have made 3D assets that were very little detailed and then put like a 2D shader on them to make them look 2D. But these are fully fleshed out 2D assets. I mean, when you do a 2D sprite, you have to design every sprite, all the positions of the sprite, all the frames that the sprite could go through. Like, so when a game does that, that means they spent a lot of money on art, which is, I think, something to just take appreciation of too. Yeah, Paul's is going nuts on the big games of the year, like Gollum and the day before,
Redfall. Yeah.
But you mentioned a handful of games there, right? Last Ronin, Helldivers 2. Those are games that I'm looking forward to. So I feel like 2024 has a lot of exciting things. in the works, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Space Marine 2 is a game that was supposed to come out this year, but as it got closer to like November and the end of it, I knew it really wasn't going to hit. They moved it out pretty far into 2024, but that game looked great and people had early impressions that were good, but I imagine they're giving it more time to just make it even better. So, I say all the power to them. So
The other ones that aren't really surprising from me is Dragon's Dogma 2
yes,
and
yes,
Black Myth Wukong if it actually comes out.
yes.
But yeah.
Dragon Dogma 2. I've never played Dragon Dogma, but I've heard amazing things. So
My
and-
brother Cameron and I used to play that a lot. The creative character was like way ahead of its time at the time that it came out. But yeah, it has really. I just liked it because you were like killing. It didn't seem like they were just like, okay, we're in a medieval setting. We're just going to do like medieval monsters, not medieval monsters, but they leaned really hard into all mythological creatures like manticores and chimeras and stuff like that, which you wouldn't expect to see in like an England looking place. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, they got really creative and it took a lot of effort. It was almost like Monster Hunter where you have to know what you're doing against like this manticore, like go for its tail so it stops doing this kind of stuff. It like sever that thing off. So yeah, it was really cool. I'm excited about the sequel.
Black Myth Wukong is scheduled for August this year.
We talked about that as anticipated game for 2023 as well. We did. Like it was still not set. So like I'm hoping it comes out next year, but it's already late next year. That could easily be pushed.
Yeah, that's true. Sir Stone calls out Under Night in Birth 2 as his most anticipated game of 24. I've never heard of that, so I'm curious about that.
He could just be making that up, and we don't know.
Yeah, it's just made up words. I'm going to go through a list of games by month that are talking about it, and we can hit them real quick. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. That's the next mainline Yakuza game. So that's another game where they consolidated the Japanese name for the series and the American name. It used to be Yakuza in America. That's Like a Dragon. Right, so similar to what they're doing with Tenkaichi Budokai Tenkaichi. Tekken 8, that's going to be big for us for a lot of reasons. That's going to be big for CFGC, Paul's and I. I'm excited for that game. Power World comes out too. I mean, I'm just curious about that game. That's the Pokemon game with guns, you know. So there's that. Helldivers 2 is in February. Persona 3 remake is in February. Mario vs. Donkey Kong, a remake of that game, looks awesome. What else? Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster is hitting the day before Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So I'm sorry, Square Enix, but you're going to lose out to one of the greatest first-person Doom engine clones ever in that regard. We have the Dragon's Dogma 2 scheduled for March, but it's going up against Princess Peach Showtime. So I don't know.
Tough comp.
Right? That's going to be an interesting one. April, nothing super big. June, Destiny 2, The Final Shape, which I don't know. We'll have to get some Destiny players on the podcast to talk more about their opinion on the game.
There's probably like 3 left. Captain Midnight played a lot of it.
Okay, yeah. Prue plays a lot of Destiny, and I trust his input on it. Black Myth Wukong, August. Warhammer Space Marine 2 is scheduled for September. And then games with no releases. I mean, there's a lot here. Blue Protocol is an MMO I'm looking forward to. I mean, yeah, there's just a lot to look. There's a lot to be excited about. John Carpenter's Toxic Commando, Luigi's Mansion 2, the remake. Yeah, so I mean, I think there's a big vacuum yet of games that are going to be coming out that we just don't know about. Specifically because I still think that the Switch successor is going to be coming out in 2024. I think it's something in like 3 months we'll be talking about. I think that may be announced by that point, but who knows for sure.
Do you think it's going to be a true Switch successor, or do you think they're going to it's going to have a brand new name, like a brand new thing?
I don't know.
Like a Wii to a Switch kind of thing. Is it just going to have a whole new thing?
The name could change, but I think the pillar of space is going to be the same, where it's going to be a hybrid console, you know?
Okay.
So because of that, I don't see why they would change the name. I really hope they go with Super Switch.
I do too.
But I think there's all kinds of leaks and rumors. It's going to be an impressive system. And I think we're going to have some pretty big first party games. I think a Donkey Kong game, I think a new Mario game, 3D Mario game, a new potentially 3D Donkey Kong game, that Donkey Dong game, you know?
Mario versus Donkey Dong.
Yeah. So 2023 has been a great year. We're gonna say goodbye to it in a few weeks, but it's treated us well. And I think gaming in general is going to continue to pick up as we get further from the pandemic. Yeah. And,
Pandemic.
teams start to learn how to work in this new hybrid environment a lot more as well. So that's it. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as long as the leaks thing stops happening.
I didn't want to talk about that really because I feel bad.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Well,
so
I'm just saying it's the second big one this year, you know, like,
Yeah.
or was it last year with GTA 6? But it doesn't matter. But yeah,
GTA
we
6.
don't have to talk about it.
Well, just generally, Insomniac had a major leak. People's personal data was leaked. Games were leaked. All that. What I will say is,
Game
I'm
plans
excited.
leaked, roadmaps leaked, budgets, partnerships, everything.
Yeah, and somehow or another, a photo of you eating 5-foot-long hot dogs at the San Diego Padre games leaked
It's
too.
what I get. I emailed it to Insomniac employees. It's part of the leak.
Merry Christmas.
I like hot dogs.
There we go. Alex, I'm gonna go eat some wedding soup. What are you gonna go do?
I'm gonna go try to find the pregnant wife and see what she's up to.
Tell her we said hi and we love her. And Mark's a great name. Just to think about that, you know.
When's our next show?
We got to talk about that. If we're going to do it weekly or every other week, we just wanted to get back on the air. Let's finalize that by tomorrow, and then we'll announce it. But it will be on Wednesdays for sure. It may be bi-weekly.
I don't know why I even asked that, because I was just trying to get my sign out correctly, but there's no way we're having another show before Monday, so it didn't really matter. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I think bi-weekly is the schedule we should stick to. I think that gives us time to play games, and you're going to be a dad, I'm going to be dad. We got a lot going on, so we get together every 2 weeks.
He's the dad. She's the dad. Yeah, we're all dads. Yeah.
Good Burger 2, one of the best movies of 2023.
We didn't do that. We didn't do movie bites.
We can do a movie section next episode. It will still almost be December. It won't be January 3rd. Oh, January 3rd, I'm getting a root canal.
We are going to do the podcast 5 minutes after you get home.
I will do it.
This screen and zoomed in on your jaws.
I will probably be on pain medication and all that stuff too. So it should be a funny episode.
Yes.
Alex, do you remember how to do this?
Yeah, guys. What's weird is we're not going to see each other till next year. So I hope you make it safely to 2024 so we can all play games together. I don't know where you're at, but stay warm, stay cool, and stay full. Have a happy holiday break and eat candy canes for 24 hours straight. Saying ho, ho, ho the whole time.
That's next episode. Merry Christmas. God bless everyone. Have a wonderful time. Alex, I take back all the things I said about you. You're not that bad.
I don't believe you.
All right. See you later, buddy.